And thank you for joining us today. My name is Roy Veraveles, and I am the Science Coordinator for the Canadian Prairies Prescribed Fire Exchange, and I will be the webinar's moderator today. So just a reminder to everyone that this webinar will be recorded and posted on our YouTube channels. So a little bit of background about our Embers of Insight. This is produced through a collaboration between the Great Plains Fire Science Exchange and the Canadian Prairies Prescribed Fire Exchange. So this year, we are exploring this topic of prescribed burn associations through 3 webinar series. 2 weeks ago, we hosted John Weir, followed by an excellent webinar from Ben Wheeler. And wrapping up today, we have a great panel discussion on prescribed burn associations that joining us from the US and Canada. If you happen to miss any of these sessions, recorded ones will be available on our YouTube channel. You're welcome to visit those channels. Lori, do you want to introduce yourself and say hi to the participants?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Lori Bamerlin. I am the Outreach Coordinator for the Great Plains Fire Science Exchange.
Thank you, Lori. Before I introduce today's panelists, I will go over some general guidelines for the webinar. So for attendees, please keep your microphones off. You are welcome to keep your videos on or off, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And for questions, please share those questions in the chat box or unmute yourself. Lori will be monitoring the chat and may be able to bring some of the questions to the panelists. And when you log off after the webinar, you will be invited to complete a short optional anonymous feedback survey. So with the idea to keep improving our webinars. All right, with those items covered, let's meet our panelists. We have 3 excellent panelists. First, we have Marcy Epperson. She is the president of Cinco chapter of Edwards Plateau Burn Association and also the vice president of Prescribed Burn Alliance of Texas. We have also Sheldon Fletcher. He is the water quality coordinator and member of the Lower Brule Sioux tribe in South Dakota. He's also the president of the River Breaks Prescribed Burn Association. And we also have Laura Reeves. She is the president of the Stuartburn Prescribed Burn Association, which is the first prescribed burn association established in Canada. So I'm really looking forward to hear from the 3 of them about their organizations. Now, just for everyone, the objective of this panel discussion is to bring together diverse perspectives from different prairie ecoregions across North America. We're especially interested in learning how fire functions within everyone's region and how working collaboratively through your local prescribed burn association has helped facilitate fire operations. So with that, let's hear from our panelists. To please introduce yourself, share your role within your PBA, and tell us where your association operates. So let's start with Marcy, and then Sheldon, and then followed by Laura. So Marcy, do you want to unmute yourself, share your screen, and tell us about you.
Good morning. I'm Marcy Epperson. I ranch with my husband and children in the southwest region of Texas on the Edwards Plateau, and I am president of Cinco chapter of the Edwards Plateau Prescribed Burn Association, which is the first prescribed burn association that was formed in Texas by Dr. Butch Taylor, who is my mentor. Let me share the window. Here's a map. I'm in the pink area on this map, and we have a great burn association. Drought has really been a challenge for us the past few years, but there we are, and we're still hanging in there. Anything else? Okay.
I think that's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Marcy. Sheldon, do you want to share where you're from and what are you doing within your prescribed burn association?
You bet. Good morning. My name is Sheldon Fletcher. I'm with the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe Environmental Protection Office. I also ranch with my 2 cousins on the Lower Brule Reservation, and I am president of the River Breaks Prescribed Burn Association. And let me see if I can. Just because there's a lot of people from around the country on here. This kind of shows you where we're at. South Dakota gets cut in half by the Missouri River, and we're right along the Missouri River. So we have river breaks, and we have lots of eastern red cedar encroachment that are coming out of those breaks onto the prairie. This is Lyman County. We're basically where this like squiggly line is. This is the White River. So we're kind of from there north and including the Lower Brule Reservation there. It's kind of our area of operations.
Excellent. Thank you, Sheldon. Laura, do you want to introduce yourself and show us where your prescribed fire operations work in Canada?
Yeah, I am the Laura Reeves, president of the Stuartburn Prescribed Burn Association. We are located, our Stuartburn is located in the southeast corner of Manitoba. I will pull that up here. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, right on. So yeah, we have Manitoba here, we have North Dakota, Minnesota, and yeah, we're just a little bit in the corner of southeastern Manitoba. We're in the tallgrass prairie region. We have the Manitoba Tallgrass Prairie Preserve in our RM, which is, oh gosh, what is it now? 20,000 acres, I believe. There's a lot of crown land here, a lot of private land that's either abandoned or it's grazed. There isn't a lot of cropland in this area, so there's a fair bit of land that could use a burn. So yeah.
Thank you, Laura. That's
Mhm.
pretty great. And
Yeah.
we have a lot of snow in the tallgrass prairie, right, in Manitoba. So, excellent. Can you stop sharing your screen, Laura?
Yep, I will do that. So, there we go.
Thank you so much. So we have a number of questions prepared for the panelists, but the participants are welcome to share your questions and any comments that you might have for each one of them. You are welcome to put that in the chat box, and we're going to keep moving with these questions, but as soon as you have any questions from the participants, we may prioritize those questions to be answered by the panelists. Okay, so let's start with one question here. Marcy, what motivated the creation of your Prescribed Burn Association, on how you have adapted your work to meet specific ecological and community needs on your region within the Prescribed Burn Alliance of Texas network?
In our part of Texas, we have a lot of encroachment of ash juniper, which we commonly call cedar. And it is from germination to mature tree, approximately 15 years. So it's very expensive to mechanically remove it. It's kind of, I guess, very similar to the red cedar problem that many of y'all in the Great Plains have. And Dr. Taylor, I think, kind of accidentally stumbled upon that using, well, with a lot of looking back into historic use of fire by Native Americans, and how fire was stifled by European immigrants, figured out that we really needed to reintroduce fire to the landscape. So he began research, and that's kind of where we are now. He created the Burn Association in 1998. I believe our association is kind of the model for national, or at least in the US, prescribed burn associations. And that's all thanks to Dr. Taylor. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So,
Okay.
shrubing problem, that's a huge problem with everywhere right now.
Yes.
So, yeah, I wonder what would be this is for Sheldon now. What in the same type of question, what inspired you the creation of your PBA, and how your partnership with tribal or indigenous communities shape your prescribed fire work engagement locally?
I think what kind of motivated us was just the sheer numbers of the cedar trees. It's I ranched on my grandfather's ranch, and I can remember being there when I was young, and out hunting and things like that. And it was like there was a few cedar trees here and there, and now we're to the point where it's like you can't even use some trails anymore because there's so many trees, and fences have disappeared in draws. They're just covered by cedar tree forests, and it was that fact, and knowing that along with that we're losing forage production for our cattle. It was a big motivator to do something. So what we did was we started doing more education. I was in a position with our environmental office to start hosting some meetings, and I brought in speakers to talk on a topic. One was probably one of the foremost professors in the country on it is the Brock Twidwell from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in Nebraska, and he talked on it, and we just had several meetings, just getting that word out there to educate everybody, to show how much production we're losing, and from there that just we're like, well, what can we do? At that time, there was only one burn association in South Dakota, and that was to the south of us. The Mid-Missouri River Prescribed Burn Association was the only one. And so we started looking to them for some guidance. We had some of their members come out, speak at our meetings, and basically just modeled everything off of them. We didn't try to reinvent the wheel. We saw how they were doing it. I went down to one of their fires, kind of saw how they were doing it, and was totally impressed by their organization. And that's kind of how we got started.
And yours is a recently established prescribed burn association, right, Sheldon?
Yeah, we just the end of 2023 is when we got established. So we're real new.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. So Laura, along the same lines, what have you inspired the creation of the Prescribed Burn Association in Manitoba? I'm curious to hear if you have the same type of problems of the previous panelists. How that developing that community-led association shape your local perceptions and acceptance of prescribed fire in Manitoba?
We do have a very much similar problems. We have encroachment issues here, but different species. We have aspen encroachment and shrub encroachment, so like willows and birch, shrub birch and that. Looking around, we were, just talking amongst neighbors. We all seem to have different reasons for burning. For me, it was the encroachment issue and wildfire risk. We're sitting here pretty much sandwiched between Tallgrass Prairie Preserve and abandoned farmland. So there was a national news kind of fire that came through here in 2011. And thank goodness I didn't have a house here at the time. But I came right through this area, took the barn down, took the old house down. And it was very concerning because there's a couple miles with no hard breaks here. So the neighbors, talking to the neighbors, they've got pasture land that the cattle aren't grazing anymore because it's just so overgrown. Neighbors to the north, they have a little cabin, they're afraid of wildfires. So there are lots of reasons, just talking amongst neighbors, that we need to get more fire down. There used to be a lot of fires in this area, but over years it's become a little more scary because there's more abandoned land, there's more buildup of fuel, and people are a little more nervous to burn. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And just to clarify, your association also is pretty new, right?
Yeah, we started in basically just conversation started in January 24, December, winter of 23-24. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Laura. So, Marcy, it seems that your prescribed burn association is kind of the more experienced one right now. So I wonder what has been your biggest operational, regulatory, or social challenge, and how you have worked through within both your local chapter and your broader Prescribed Born Alliance network?
I'm going to say for our area, I wrote these down, and I think there's 4 really serious issues which affect us. Number one, and this is going to apply to everyone in the prescribed burn world, but drought, as far as needing forage on a working ranch and balancing rotations and fire and deferring land so that we can burn. It's been a real challenge since 2011. And so, which is going to lead me into the next thing, is the age of our landowners since 2011. If they were, middle age, they're now elderly. And a lot of them just are not interested in burning anymore, or they can't, or maybe they don't even have livestock. Then we get into a little bit of the distance of the membership. For my specific association is very widespread. Even my own burn association is 5 really large counties in Texas. And then finally, land fragmentation has been a huge issue for my county in the past, really since COVID, when everybody wanted to get out of the cities and come out here. There's just a lot of fear in new small landowners that don't understand land management on a wide ecological scale. So
Thank you, Marcy. How do you deal with the liability issue with the
in
prescribed born associations
for
there?
us, well, I am a state certified CIPBM, so I hold a policy which covers me on a certain number of burns during the year. I would advise anyone in Texas, if they're going to burn at all, either to hire, and this is really hard because we don't have many in Texas that will travel to especially small landowners, to either join a burn association and get the experience. Make sure you have one of the handful of policies in Texas which cover prescribed fire, but go to burn school. You don't have to get certified, but you need to show that you have a level of education in fire. And if possible, get a lot of experience, get a good team, get the education, get the insurance, but hire a CIPBM if you can, and you have a really serious liability issue.
Thank you, Marcy. So Sheldon, along with the same question, in South Dakota, working within the tribal landscape that balances cultural values, water quality, land stewardship, what has been your biggest challenge in advancing prescribed fire? How you have addressed those challenges?
Our biggest challenge is probably just getting everyone informed about the damage that can be caused by the eastern red cedar encroachment. And first we have to get them informed so they kind of understand it, and then we got to get them motivated, to want to do something about it. And getting people motivated is tough sometimes. So a lot of times we refer to the encroachment, we always have to show dollar amounts, that they're losing. In the cattle industry, things are handed down, so it's like you don't want to be that guy that grandpa ran 300 head in this pasture, and you run, and then due to cedar encroachment, you only can run 275, and now if you're going to turn that over to your son, maybe he can only run close to 200 head. You don't want to be that guy that, oh, I didn't do anything about it, sorry son, but you can't make as much money as grandpa did because we let these cedars take over and we lost our grass. You don't want to be that guy. So we tried to do a lot of education, and then also just the whole try to get a burning culture established, because we had generations of folks that have been taught that any fire is bad, right? As soon as there's a fire, it's like, you need to get put out right away. Fire's bad, fire's bad. And that's been, pardon the pun, but burned into people's minds so much that you have to change that. You have to show them that fire can be used as a conservation tool, and fire can be safe, and fire is good. And then on the cultural side, our burn association is on the reservation and off the reservation and consists of tribal members and non-tribal members. We're a smaller reservation in South Dakota, so we're 230,000 acres. So out of that, we have probably 25 to 30 operators of tribal land. It's divided up into like large pastures, anywhere from 1,000 acres to 5,000 acre pastures. So we have that, and tribal members lease that, and then they're allowed to run cattle or horses or whatever they want. And so when we took a look at it, we thought maybe we'd just stay, as a reservation burn association. But with anything, if you got a small group of people, and then when it's time to do some work, even a smaller group shows up, that we just didn't have the numbers to make it work. So everybody in this area works really well together. This issue isn't just a reservation issue. It just isn't a non-Indian issue. It's not a government agency issue. It's all of our issues, and it's going to take all of us working together to make an effect to get this thing slowed down. So that's when we decided that we're just going to make it an area one. Like I said, the Mid-Missouri Burn Association was to our south, and they kind of had, I think they're 3 counties, and we didn't want to go that big. So we thought maybe we could just do, they take the southern portion of Lyman County, and we thought, well, we'll take the northern portion, and the reservation would be our area of operations. So we did that. And we couldn't have done it without the help from our Reliance is a small town just right off the reservation. And we could not have done this without the Reliance Volunteer Fire Department. They have gone above and beyond on helping us getting started and on our burns. We use their fire hall for our annual meetings. So it's just, I guess it's kind of unique. We really didn't think it was going to be that unique or anything, because we're all friends anyway. They answer fire calls on the reservation and off, and it was just like, this is going to work. And then later on, more people were like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" With on reservation and off reservation. It's just like, well, we all know each other. We all ranch. We're rural, so I mean, we didn't even really think twice about it. We just, went to building our prescribed burn association. But big thing is that fire culture, trying to create that fire culture and show people that you're not going to burn the whole county down, because that's what everybody thinks. Oh, you can't be messing with that. Oh, you're going to burn up everything. Oh, geez, So the first couple fires we did, we had a lot of looky-loos kind of come out and wanted to see what was going on and making sure that nothing came their way. And but that was all right, because everything went well. Insurance wise, things are a little different in South Dakota. The burn association doesn't come do the fire for the landowner. It's the landowner's fire. The burn association assists that landowner, so all the liability and stuff is on the landowner. So the landowner needs to have insurance, and most of the liability insurance usually covers prescribed fires. So that's one of the policies we have is with the burn association, is when you go to ask for help on burning one, there's all these criteria that need to be met, and one of those is liability insurance. And then we also try to tell other people that we're not for hire. We're not going to come conduct a fire for you, but we can come help you and assist you in doing that.
That's excellent. Thank you, Sheldon, for sharing those perspectives from South Dakota. In the same lines, Laura, so yours is the first prescribed burn association in Canada. So what has been the biggest challenge in the Manitoba's regulatory and liability context, how you have worked through those challenges. Sorry, Laura, you are muted. Can you unmute yourself, please?
There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for us is that once we got started, everything moved really fast. We got a few people together who were interested in doing prescribed burning, and it was right away that we heard, I think it was in January of 24, we heard of a big federal grant that was being handed out for fire education. And it was $44 million were available. So we're like, oh, we should maybe apply for that. And we had lots of support from our RM. They encouraged us to apply for this grant. And they say, don't just apply for a little bit, like make your dream list and shoot for the stars. Maybe you'll only get some of it. So we're like, oh, okay. So we put our dream list of equipment together and everything, and it came out to $180,000, I think it was. And so we applied and we didn't get it. Okay, well, whatever. Then another grant came up. We got a grant through Nature Manitoba. It was for $3,000, which was great. It's a native habitat grant. And that got us a lot of hand tools and really got us started on the small stuff, which was great. And then we got wind of another grant through Intact Insurance. And yeah, so we applied for that. We put in another dream list. It was just under $120,000. And to our surprise, we got it. And so we kind of had to panic. Well, okay, I had panicked anyways, like, oh my gosh, we got all this money now. So yeah, once we got that money, we started purchasing equipment. We got a 6x6, like a side-by-side. We got a towable trailer, water skids for both of those, more hand tools, PPE. We got enough money for training people. So yeah, and of course now we have to answer to the funders to Intact Insurance for 2 years, and we have all these goals that we said we would reach. So we're under pressure now to do all that, which is great because it's making us do stuff, which is it's really good. So yeah, the challenge in all that is that there's a limited number of people. Like Sheldon was saying, there's a small core of people who are really getting this done, and it's been a lot of work. It's a lot of work putting it all together to begin with. We have to get incorporated. We have to get in liability insurance. Yeah, that was, we had so much support through the RM. We actually have our liability insurance through them. So they also gave us $1,000 towards our overhead costs. And yeah, so that's where we have our liability insurance. We also have workers' compensation coverage. So if anyone does get hurt on the fire line, we have coverage for them. Yeah, I guess our next biggest challenge is going to be keeping up with this equipment. Now we have insurance for all this equipment. So yeah, we're going to have those annual payments for that sort of a thing. So that's going to be our next big challenge, I guess, financially anyways.
Really great to hear that an insurance company is funding your prescribed burn association in Manitoba, Laura. That's really great to hear. I wonder how is that relationship with
it's
them?
in their it's in their best interest, right? Because we've had, even in our area in 2011 and 2012, we lost 7 houses in our area. The local bridge was out heading into town. So yeah, it's in their best interest to help prevent these wildfires.
Thank you, Laura. That's really great. I want to hear from Lori if we have any questions from the audience.
We do not. I just put it in chat. If you have questions, feel free to put that question in chat or raise your hand and Roy will call on you. We'd love to hear what you're thinking or if the panelist said something that sparked your interest.
Thank you, Lori. So Sheldon and Laura mentioned something about training. So this question is for Marcy. So Marcy, how do you train members and build trust among your rancher communities, agencies, and first responders?
Well, I'm going to go back to Dr. Taylor again. His whole model was set up as neighbor helping neighbor. And so communication is key in everything, all of life. We know that. So we try to communicate as widely as we can between group members, PBA members, neighbors, agencies. And then I try on every single burn to locally on my social media, not a big thing, just locally. If you're interested in prescribed fire and you would like to come and be on this burn with us, we will pair you with an experienced practitioner as a mentor for the day. And then, and I can't remember who said it. I think it's, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Just put a drip torch in someone's hand once, and they are going to smile for the rest of the day. Everybody loves it. So it just takes a little effort, but as Sheldon said, reigniting the little pun there on purpose, or maybe not on purpose, but reigniting the fire culture is so very important, and that's what we're all about.
Amazing. Thank you, Marcy.
Okay.
We have a question for you, Marcy, that says, have you come up with any methods to address the issue of aging landowners and possibly attracting younger people? So I think you kind of addressed that, maybe attracting other people, but you want to elaborate?
Sorry, Marcy, you are muted.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Just what I said, try to invite people, whether they're necessarily landowners or not, because some of these younger people may have grandparents that have purchased land, or maybe parents that are going to inherit. In my case, I have a son that's 21 and a son that's 24. And they invite their friends, and I encourage them to bring their friends. And last year we burned several units, and we had about 10 young people come to these burns that had never been on a burn before, and they all absolutely loved it and are ready for more. So I just think it's going to have to be a grassroots level movement, and we have to be welcoming, and we have to address the fear. And I think the fear is justified. So I don't want to make light of that on anyone. We have to be respectful of fire. It is dangerous, but it's all about creating a safe burn unit and a safe experience for people. And I really think that is key into moving step down through, dealing with the older land ownership. And I don't know the stats, but I know we see it over and over again. We are in a time of the largest land ownership change in history in the United States because of aging land ownership. So I think for those of us who are actively involved in burning, it's just keep being nice, keep smiling, and keep inviting people to our burns. And address the training and the fire culture. Did that answer that what you're?
I think that answered the question. Thank you, Marcy.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I see movement in the chat, Lori. I don't know if there are any more questions there.
Yeah, Brian has just put some useful resources in there about how university extension is helping promote PBAs in Texas.
Mhm.
Excellent.
I'll add to that. We AgriLife a little over a year ago hired a statewide prescribed burn coordinator. His name is David Brook, and he is doing an amazing job for the state of Texas.
Perfect. Thank you, Marcy. So, Sheldon, along the same lines, I guess you mentioned this a little bit in your previous answer, but how do you train members in your association?
I just got to reiterate on one of Marcy's comments about inviting people out. on the burns. I think that's huge. When I went to my first burn with the Mid-Missouri River Prescribed Burn Association, I came back that same week, and it maybe wasn't 100% appropriate, but we conducted a small 30-acre burn on our ranch. That same week I went and watched theirs. It was like, yeah, we need to do this. And I wish we were doing this 25 years ago. But we're just getting started now. So yeah, when they go, if they're gonna like it, boy, you know it right away. But with the training our members, here we've hosted a live fire training in cooperation with South Dakota State University Extension Office and Pheasants Forever, South Dakota Game Fish and Parks, Nature Conservancy, with a whole host of other agencies. South is doing these around the state. It'll be 3 years ago now. We looked at doing our first one on the reservation, and it really went well. We do it's classroom, so it's for like landowners, operators, producers, that they come, and we have a half day of kind of introducing them to fire, fire breaks, all the different terminology, the equipment, the dangers, and then in the afternoon we go out and we do some burning. So we did, like, I think the first one was like 50 acres, and then like last year I think was probably 100. And we have another one planned for this spring on April 21st. We're going to do it again. So that's where we really try to get people in that are new to it, so they can come, and we actually have that as a requirement before they can start going on burns and stuff. They need to have one of those trainings before they can participate. And that's really gone well. And that's why we're doing it. This will be our third year doing it. So we look forward to that. And that's we've kind of been using those mainly as our training platforms.
That's great. Thank you, Sheldon.
I
think there's a question in the chat.
We have one that says, I think if everybody could share their input on this, that'd be great. It says, if a person were to approach you on forming a new local PBA, what advice would you provide them on where to start?
I guess it's an open question to anyone who wants to answer this.
I'd tell them I'd tell them to go out and find an existing burn association that's been there for a while, like we did with Mid-Missouri, and go there and talk to the folks, and if you can, attend one of their fires or two of their fires, anything like that, to see how it goes. And from there you'll get a really good understanding on how they work. But that'd be my best piece of advice.
Yeah, for us, we have had people interested in forming their own burn association. One lady in particular has taken all of our training. She's been on fires. She's been during, well, we haven't had any of our own fires yet, but she's been to treks that was held down here. So yeah, she's taken every opportunity to learn from us that she could, which is great. Basically now she has to find her core of people that will help her get it set up in her area.
Thank you so much. Are there any more questions in the chat, Lori?
Nope. I think people are just sharing some good information. So if other people have resources that they found helpful, feel free to share with others.
Perfect. So we are almost 11:40, so I think we have one more round of questions before we wrap up the discussion today. And this question goes to Marcy. So how do you see your PBA the next 5 to 10 years? What are the opportunities that you might be seeing as for your organization?
I think we have room for exponential growth and I see a lot of room for improvement. Our main focus right now, or at least my goal, is we held a workshop, I guess it's been 2 years ago now, that was not, it was a mini brush pile burn school is what, and which is to me kind of a step into it's, you're not going to learn everything about prescribed fire, and burning brush piles is not prescribed fire. However, for smaller landowners that are clearing just small amounts of brush and they don't want to start a wildfire when they burn their brush pile, which is a huge problem in Texas, um, it was a really good interface of small, new landowners who maybe live in the city and don't have any experience in land management about how to safely do that. And then they also were given a mini burn plan for the brush pile burning. So I feel like that type of really small outreach, I mean, it was a big deal to put it on. I worked with our county agent to get that done, and then had Ray Hennett and Dr. Taylor were the speakers for that. It was a few hours. I really feel like that did a good job of giving us an introduction to a community who's not familiar with prescribed fire. So I'm hoping to do another one of those, and um, just keep chipping at it. And I continually hope that more of the new landowners will come to just one burn, so that they see, as our statewide Texas Parks and Wildlife fire prescribed fire coordinator says, it's not five guys and a 12-pack of beer and a box of matches. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marcy, for that. I guess in the same along the same lines, Sheldon. So, what do you think would be the best partnership for to support your prescribed burn association in the next 5 to 10 years to unlock the potential of your organization? And you're muted, so just so you know.
I think well, ours is kind of twofold, but um I think burn associations are just beginning in South Dakota, and that's really a good thing because we're way behind. And ours is kind of twofold, as we have our private ranchers, and I believe they're going to get more on board, especially the ones right along the river corridor, the Missouri River corridor. And then we also have, like, on the tribal side, we have to deal with different federal agencies. So mostly we deal with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. They have the trust responsibility on tribal trust grounds. And they have been telling us, this is one of my motivators. And if there's anybody on here from BIA, sorry. But they've been telling us for years, well, we have money. We have money. Oh, we have money to burn. We have money, literally money to burn. But their bureaucracy just can't get it done, or they can't get it done here in our area. I know the BIA does really good stuff in the Southwest because I follow them on Facebook, and they do a really good job there. But like in our area, they can't even staff their office, let alone get money and get fire on the ground here. So that's really why we kind of took control and said, well, they're not doing it. We have to do it because we're the ones that are losing money, and they're not going to lose money. So we have to deal with that level of federal agency, and anytime you do that, that's tough. Like I said, and now they're doing some reorganizations with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Wildland Fire. They created a new national agency, so I don't know how that's going to affect us. But it literally can't be any worse because we have 230,000 acres with one BIA firefighter. And I think we got 4 or 5 grass rigs and one firefighter, and they won't let anybody else drive them. Right? You got to be BIA and have the government license. So it's like they're just dropping the ball all the way around. So we have two deals like that, and I think these burn associations really have an opportunity to kind of fill that void that the federal agencies aren't getting things done. Whether or not they should is another question, but I really think it's an opportunity for them to fill that void, because our federal agencies around here, well, BIA specifically, they're just not getting it done. But there are other federal agencies that are coming around and helping, like NRCS, huge help for us on our burn association, technical skills, knowledge, and then also all the best management practices they have. You can get equip contracts, you can get deferred grazing, so you can build some fuel and you can get monetary help for that. Then you can get their technical assistance. They're right now they're writing our burn plans, and then they give you money for actual burn itself. If you could put that all in your equip plan. So, because that's one of the biggest questions we get it with ranchers is, well, if I need to get fuel in there, so I can't graze it. So it's like, well, what am I going to do with my cows? That's a financial burden. So, but with NRCS's help through an equip contract, usually you can get deferred grazing. That way you can find another pasture or rent another pasture, even though it's tough to find other pastures, but you can get some monetary help on that. So that's huge. But I really think, especially in South Dakota, I mean, the sky is the limit for the prescribed burn associations. And not only is it a good opportunity, it's so needed for the land. And I took a little criticism when I first started, because everybody's like, oh, you just want to be able to run more cows. No, that's not it. We need these prairies. These prairies are in the process of becoming forest. And if that happens, it's I mean, all the ground nesting birds, all the habitat for everything on the prairie, we can't afford to lose our prairies. We just can't. So it's not just for ranching so we can run more cows. It's to save our prairies, basically. And I just think there's a huge opportunity for the burn association, especially in South Dakota, to really expand and be in control.
Thank you, Sheldon. So, Laura, in Canada, what needs to be changed, politically speaking, institutionally speaking, needs to be changing in order to help this model of prescribed burn associations to grow? What do you think shifts or changes are needed here in Canada?
I think one of the biggest things we could do is just make room for more partnerships. We've actually started working on partnerships with, we started out with the Canadian Prairies Prescribed Fire Exchange, which was great. They helped us out a lot in the beginning, and still are helping us. We've made inroads with the Nature Conservancy of Canada. To begin with, they wanted nobody outside of their agency to help with burns. You had to have special permission just to watch them burn, kind of a thing. But they've made some adjustments to their policies, and they're actually allowing us to burn with them now as the Stuartburn Prescribed Burn Association. So that is huge right there. We have had a meeting with the what's the exact name? Anyways, with the provincial fire protection services there, and they're interested in working with us. They're not sure exactly how yet, but there's room for that, for discussion on that. And I think the biggest thing is going to be partnerships. We can't all do it on our own. We've got a lot of, like I said, a lot of crown land here. People are pointing fingers at the government saying, why aren't they burning? People are pointing fingers at Nature Conservancy saying, why aren't they burning more? People are pointing at our own hands, start something and just push for more partnerships to work together. I think the big answer is we all have to work together on a small scale and on a larger scale.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura.
We have a question for the panelist. It says, do you have any advice for increasing landowner demand for help with fire? Say you have a PBA at your disposal, a surplus of time and skill, but your capacity is held down due to low landowner interest.
Hmm.
Is
That's
this
an
question
interesting
addressed?
question. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in our area, we actually have more interest than we can. We have a lot of people coming to us saying, hey, can you burn our land for us? And it's like, well, we're not really a service, and right now we don't have enough people trained to do sufficient burns. We're getting there, we're very close. But yeah, we have more people wanting us to come and burn their land than we have people wanting, like from within our community, to come and join the PBA and help burn. So yeah, actually half of our membership is from outside of our RM, which is very interesting. So we now have to work to get more people from within our community join and to actually help with the burns. So we actually have the opposite problem than from what was just asked. So maybe that wasn't helpful.
I would just add that I think you need to kind of show them the financials. If they're losing grass, then they're going to be losing cattle. I mean, the rest of your grass is going to be in worse shape if you're still trying to run the same number of head. So it kind of just comes down to a financial thing. We've got a 4,000 acre pasture here along the river that has 1,000 acres of cedar trees, thick canopy cedar trees. So, I mean, that's 1,000 acres you can't run on anymore. That's significant.
Sheldon, I have a question for you. What is your stocking rate in that 4,000 acre pasture, or what would be the normal animal units if you didn't have 1,000 acres of unusable space?
I was getting confused a little bit, but I think we're at about 22 acres for an AUM
Okay.
for year round.
So that's significant loss.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Lori, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, we have a couple more. So one would be specifically for Laura, is how do you train your members? And then a follow-up that anybody could ask or answer would be about urban burning. Do you know any PBAs that are successfully doing urban or suburban burns?
Sure. Okay. So, about training, before we got our funding, we actually struck up a deal with the Canadian Prairies Prescribed Fire Exchange. They have that course, Introduction to Prescribed Burning, or Introduction to Prescribed Fire in a Grassland Environment. It's a 16-hour online course, really well done. If anyone wants to take it, I highly recommend it. So that course is $150 to take, which is not unreasonable at all, but it's not something everyone's going to want to pay. We had somebody say, well, I'd like to take the course, but I don't want to pay $150 to volunteer for something. So we thought, oh, well, okay, that might be a concern of other people's too. So we approached CPPFE and we struck up a deal that we could get a cost share on that course. So they allowed us to get as many people as we could together to get that course, and we would just split the cost between all those people. And we had 15 people sign up for that course, and they paid $14 each to take that course, which was a great start for us. Now that we have the funding from Intact Insurance, we are offering that course for free to 20 people. The first 20 people that want to take it can get it for free. We're also offering hands-on workshops. So we'll learn to burn training series. So we do on the ground equipment, showing everyone how to use our equipment, And we do like a mock burn so people can learn how to use equipment, learn the communications on the fire line without having the stress of an actual fire. So we have the Learn to Burn series. We also have burn plan development workshop as well, so we can get people started on writing their own burn plans for their land. So yeah, we have the 4 requirements. We have the Intro to Prescribed Fire course. We have the ICS 100, which is the Incident Command System course. It's like a 2-hour course online. And then we have our 2 workshops that are a requirement for them to actually burn with us. So that's how we've been training people.
Thank you, Laura. That's exciting. I think there are a couple of more questions, Lori, in the chat.
There's just some great dialogue happening. So if everybody could catch up on that, I won't read them all, but there's great dialogue.
Okay, so perfect. Thank you for sharing those resources, and everybody, I think, have access to the chat box. So I'll encourage you guys to review those. I think those are great resources for you to share as well. So we are almost at 12 p.m. here CST time. So I wonder if any of you guys, Marcy, Sheldon, or Laura, do you have a final message to everyone that you want to share with your audience here? So this is an open question for you. Whoever wants to talk first, please unmute yourself and answer that question.
I guess I would just say, if you're interested, and just keep after it. Keep that interest, keep that enthusiasm, and just keep trying to recruit other people. So we need everybody in this, because otherwise we're like South Dakota, we're behind already. So
Yeah.
just keep after it.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, is keep after it. Just keep chipping away. We're all struggling in some area. There's so many volunteer organizations. We're just another one trying to get more people involved. But once people see what fire does, it really makes a difference. So if we can just get them to one burn, it usually turns things around.
Yeah, we have found that too. When we had people actually come to treks and they actually got into a fire, they actually got some burning done. They got really excited after that. They were already excited, but that really helped. Like I said, we haven't had any fires on the ground yet. We just haven't had the people or the land prepared, to be honest. Getting land prepared is a big challenge as well. But yeah, we have the excited people. We have people want to do this, and I think if you have that core, you just need a small core, and you just need to reach out. To begin with, we just had community meetings, just to get the community or knowledgeable about what we were doing, and it just came from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think we're almost with time here. So Lori, is there any final question for the panel? I don't know.
There is one final that says, is there any research on prescribed fire reducing tick populations? That's one more way to get people excited. And I will drop a publication that Great Plains just published about that. But if someone has something they want to put in there, go for it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lori. I invite you guys to check those resources. Okay, I think it's time to wrap up our webinar. And first of all, I would really like to sincerely thank you, Marcy, Sheldon, Laura. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your experience and leadership with us today. It is incredibly powerful to hear how prescribed fire-burn associations are growing across different prairie regions in the States, in Texas, in South Dakota, in Canada as well, in Manitoba, and how this community-driven fire is shaping resilient landscapes. So that's, I think, one of the main ideas with shrub encroachment problems today, with more wildfires in the region. I think those kind of might be one of the answers for those really bad things. So thank you Lori and Carol at the Great Plains for Fire Science Exchange, and Kat sends to the Canadian Prairies Prescribed Fire Exchange for your collaboration in making this panel discussion webinar possible. And I really thank you as well to everyone who joined us today. So these conversations are really hoping to build the capacity, building partnerships, and continue bringing good fire back to the land. So thank you, everyone. And with that, I think we're wrapping up today. I'm looking forward to staying connected with everyone and continue the conversation about fire. So thank you so much. I think we're going to stop recording right now. And yeah, so I invite you guys to check the YouTube videos if you want to rewatch everything that we have discussed today.